Hello everyone, welcome to Accounting 210. In this video, I'll talk about Chapter 7 CVP analysis. Before we go to the specific questions, I want to go through the chapter, the basic idea first. Talking about the cost, volume, and the profits in this chapter, right? So everybody has to know this. We also call it a variable cost income statement. We also call it a CVP analysis. CVP income statement. So basically, the general idea is we separate all the costs to variable cost and then fixed cost. And then since fixed cost is fixed, right? So it doesn't change. So you rent a building, the rent is $600. No matter how many units you sell, the rent is always there. Then the change of your operating income will be the change of your contribution margin, which is the difference of revenue and then your variable costs. We call it the contribution margin because that's the part contributes to cover our fixed cost and then to also increase our operating income. So I'm not going to talk too much. We already did that. So contribution margin ratio is also a very important tool. So basically, if it's your contribution margin divided by your selling price. So it means every time when you increase your total sales, total revenue, 40% will goes to the increase of your contribution margin. So you will say, hey, where is the other 60%? The other 60% goes to your variable cost. So out of this $1 bill, 60 cents goes to variable cost and 40 cents goes to our contribution margin. Then we also talk about a very important example. We call it a break-even point. We do break-even point in units and break-even point in dollar. Different ways to do it, but I would say just to use the formula. It saves your time. We practiced a lot in class, and we will practice more in the video, so I'm not going to say too much. Break-even point is when your operating income is zero. So you don't earn money, you don't lose money. Your total revenue is the same as your total costs. So you don't earn money, you don't lose money. Then we also said if you want to earn money, then basically you have to put your target operating income on the numerator, and then you do the same formula, you get either the units or the dollar amount. And then we also talked about this one in class. I didn't put it here. I will update my notes and then post it to the Blackboard. So next thing you have to know is how do we get the break-even point if we have more than one product, right? So we treat them as the weighted average. So you have two products, you get total units is 8 units because one is 5 units. Every 5 units A, you get 3 units of B, so total you get 8 units. And total you got $160 as contribution margin. So the weighted average is $20 for weighted average that unit. And then you get 350 weighted average units, right? Out of that, 5 out of 8 is the regular, so you time the portion, and 3 out of 8 of the 350 will be your large poster. So that gives you for each product the break-even point in units. Similarly, you can also do the dollar amount. So make sure you know how to do this part. And next one, we talked about margin of safety. So basically, we said it's the difference of your actual minus your break-even point, right? We said, hey, if your current is like 90 points, your break-even point, your target is just 75 points. So you have 15 points to lose. So that is your margin of safety. And we said a larger margin means you are safer because you can drop your points, you can drop your units more before you reach the break-even point. So lastly, we talk about the operating leverage. As I say, I don't really require you to understand that much. So all you need to do is to make sure you know how do we get the factor is your contribution margin divided by your operating income, and then what's the meaning of it? It means 1% change of your selling units will cost 2.11% of your operating income. Okay, so it tells us how your operating income will change to the change of your volume. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and do the first one in this video, and then I do the others in other video. I don't want to make the video too long. Now look at the first one. We talked about some in class, so I just skip those parts. Asking you about your contribution margin, we said it's your selling price minus all the variable cost, so gives you 2.5. And then operating income, if you sold 160,000 units, so how do you get this one? What I'm talking about? Okay, so question 2, I don't know we did it yes or no, so I just use I use a scratch paper here. Sorry, I work step by step. I hope I don't talk too much. I just write down my work, right? So it's asking you about your operating income. So you have your revenue minus variable cost minus give you contribution margin minus fixed cost give you operating income, and then we said operating income each one is 2.5. And then we are selling 160,000. So that gives you total, I'm sorry, how much is it? 400,000, right? We minus all the fixed cost. We have two parts, 102,300 plus 187,800. So that minus this. And then we get our contribution margin. Oh, minus all the fixed costs, we got our operating income is 109,900. Okay, so this is part 2. Nothing really much to say. Question 3 said the monthly operating income if you had sales of this much. Okay, okay. So now if your sales became that much, okay. So if your sales has become this much, so still revenue minus variable cost gives you contribution margin minus fixed cost gives you operating income. So how do we do this one? Many different ways. I don't really know how the solution did, but I would say your revenue is 4.5 million, right? It's 4.5 million, and then we need to get our variable cost. We need to get our variable cost. We need to get our contribution margin. We got our fixed cost, then we can get our operating income. Many different ways to do that. I'll just show you some idea very quickly. So first way is we get our contribution margin percentage. So we said the contribution margin percentage is contribution margin divided by selling price. From the first one, we know contribution is 2.5 for each, and then it's $20 for the selling price. So contribution margin percentage is around 13%. Okay, so contribution margin is around 13%. We talk about that, then your contribution margin in dollar will be 13% times your 4.5 million. So that gives you contribution margin in dollar amount. And then, so that is 585,000. And then we still minus all the fixed cost. I'm not going to write there, but you minus all the fixed cost. You should be able to get your operating income gives me the number of 294,900. So this is the first method, right? Second method we can do is, okay, so we said our revenue is 4.5 million. And then each one, the selling price is $20. So if you don't mind, I want to get how many units I sold. Okay. My phone is so slow, sorry. Okay, so 4, 5. So I sold 225,000, right? I sold this much. And then I know my contribution margin for each one is 2.5. So that gives me similar amount. It's a 565 this much, but you know it's not exactly the same. Maybe because of the rounding, you know. So that will give me another way to get my operating income. Okay, so next one. What's the break-even point? What is the break-even point? So this is question 3. And then question 4 asking about break-even point. Is that break-even point is straightforward, right? Fixed cost divided by our contribution margin for each. Our fixed cost is still put it there, sorry. You have to add those two and then divided by 2.5. So that gives you 116 these units. Right, it gives you this much units. And the next one, break even, how many units would the company have to sell to get a target of this? So that is also, we said, will be your fixed cost plus your operating income divided contribution margin each. So will be your fixed cost plus your 260, 100 divided by 2.5. So that gives you the amount. That gives you amount of 2 to this units. Okay, this gives you that much units. Okay, sorry, yeah, I missed this one. In sales revenue, so we also say you can use the fixed cost divided by contribution margin percentage, or you can use your 116 this, and then time your selling price is $20 each. You can also get your revenue dollar amount. This question is just, you know, you have the rounding difference, so maybe it's not exactly the same. In the exam, if I put the similar question, I will make sure you don't have the trouble. And then question 6, talking about is currently thinking about that. So we said to get your new break-even point in units. So we said the break-even point still is your fixed cost divided by contribution margin each. So our fixed cost is this one, but now we have to plus your fixed cost 225 this much, and then our contribution margin is also changed, right? It's your selling price minus all of our variable cost. Direct material is the same 6.7, but your direct labor will go up by 10%, so became 7.7 plus your 2 plus your 1.8. So if you do all this, you should be able to get rounding is 173,667 units. Okay, so this is how you get a break-even point in units. Always your fixed cost divided by your contribution margin for each unit. And then question 7, return to the original. What is company's current operating leverage? So leverage factor. So we said the leverage factor is your contribution margin divided by your operating income. So we said, remember when we sell 130,000 units, our total contribution margin is 3 to 5,000. Our total operating income is 3 to 5,000 minus the fixed cost, right? Minus our fixed cost. So we got 3 to 5,000 divided by 34,900. So that gives you 9.31. So you get a factor is 9.31. Okay. So next one, question 8, talking about if your volume changed by 7%, or will that change all your operating income? So your operating income will increase by your factor 9.31, which is from here, time your change of your volume 7%. So your operating income will increase by 65.2% will increase by this much percent. So you can say your sale volume is only increased by 7%, but your operating income is increased by this much. Okay. And then we said next one, question 9, we are almost done. What's the current margin of safety in sales dollar? Okay, so what is margin of safety? We said the margin of safety equals your current minus break-even point, right? Our current is selling 130,000 units. We minus our break-even point. The units is there. 116,040. So we got our margin of safety is, oh, they don't ask about the unit. So sorry about, I'll do it. So I'll do it. So give me 1 second. So it's a third. So you got a 13,960 units. You time $20 each. Sorry. So your margin of safety in dollar amount. Don't give me 1 second. Okay, so you got this time 20, you get 279,200 as your margin of safety in dollar amount, as your margin of safety in dollar amount. Why this is a big difference? I'm sorry. I'm just double checking some numbers. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. So this is how you got a margin of safety. Sorry about this. It's just the rounding, you know, this number calculated from if you do the dollar amount directly, it's a difference. I was checking why the difference is kind of large. Okay, and then we said margin of safety percentage. We didn't really do much. I said you don't really need to worry too much. Basically, it's your margin of safety. So it's from your this dollar amount divided by your current sales, right? So it's 26 divided by your current sales. So that gives you about 14%. So which means your current sales can decrease by 14% before you start having a loss. Okay, next one, question 10. Okay, question 10, talking about how about if you have two products. So you are selling this and this, sell for 45, and then you have this 28. So your contribution margin will be 17 for this product, right? Six of that, okay, 6 of your original, and then every one of the second one, okay, everyone, okay. So now you have the first product contribution margin we talked about is 2.5 there, and then second one contribution margin 1, contribution margin 2, we said is $17 here, selling price minus your variable cost. And then 6 of 1, and then 1 of 2. So your total contribution margin will be, give me 1 second. total contribution margin will be 2.5 times 6. 15 plus 17 gives me 32. And then how many total units we have? 6 plus 1, we have 7 units. So our weighted average, sorry about that, you didn't see that. Our weighted average contribution margin is 4.57 for each weighted average. Okay, and then our break-even point, is this volume higher or lower than previous needed to achieve? I don't really know this one. I'm going to that later. So our break-even point will be our total fixed cost divided by our weighted average contribution margin. So if we do this, our total fixed cost, you should know it now, 102,300 plus 187,800, and then we divide it by 4.57, so gives us 36,479 units. Okay, so that gives you total of weighted average units. You have to sell. Okay. Oh, sorry about this. Okay, sorry about this. I made a mistake. So it doesn't ask about break-even point. It's asking you about if we have a targeted operating income. Sorry about this. So you have to add it here. Sorry about this. So if you do this, then you will get a total amount. It's my fault. I do it one more time. It's my fault. 102,300 plus 187,800 plus 260,100, and then we divide it by 4.57. So gives us about 123,994 units. Okay, we have to get about this much unit total. But we said out of that, we have to time 6 out of 7. We time 6 out of 7 to get our first product. We time 1 out of 7 to get our second product. Because total out of 7, your first product is counted as 6. So it has to be 6 out of 7. And second one is 1, so it's 1 out of 7. Okay, so it has to be 1 out of 7. So if you do all this math, you should be able to get the answer. And the answer said higher or lower. I don't really have the numbers. So once you get the number, you can check with your Power 5 to get the final decision. Okay, so this question just very straightforward, whatever. So we did almost everything in class. Just use the calculator, do the math carefully. I'm sorry, some part I stopped there. I was because of the rounding kind of got me. I will post the solution to the Blackboard and then let me know if you have any question. Thank you.